Which actor was truly miscast in a particular role? Denise Richards, the nuclear scientist in that James Bond movie. My mom was miscast to play the role of a mother. I love Tom Hanks, but he was miscast in Road to Perdition. Sofia Coppola in Godfather 3. Nothing else comes close when it comes to ruining one of most important, potentially, films in history of cinema. It is true that Winona pulled out last minute, but on a sad note, Rebecca Schaeffer was another actress that was nearly chosen, but she was murdered by an obsessed fan before she could do her final test screening. Yes, Sofia was chosen last minute most likely due to nepotism, but she admitted that acting never appealed to her and knew she wasn't good in that field. She was very young and said she only said yes so she could skip school. I would have probably done the same. Since she never wanted to be an actress, the hate never upset her. And she certainly proved her talent in a different field with directing. I'm a fan of her directing. That acting in GF3 though is really tough to soak in. She was bad. But the script is terrible. No one, even Pacino, is good in this movie. I refuse to watch it again. For me there are two Godfather movies. Agreed. Want to add that it wasn't a casting issue, it was a nepotism issue. Edit, my bad, it's not as cut and dry as I made it out to be. I saw Godfather 3 opening day at ER Grauman's in Hollywood. When Sofia's character died, the audience burst into laughter. However, the rest of the film was also a jumbled mess. I couldn't tell you then or now what the hell the plot or the point was of it. Almost the entire cast of the Last Airbender movie. Edit, leave me alone with that Dragon Ball movie, I'm not watching it and never will. I agree that it could have made a decent movie if it wasn't for M. N. Shyamalan as director, but I don't know. I found the whole bending and the effects were actually not bad, except fire bending that looked awful to me, and I also liked the soundtrack. But compared to the Nickelodeon show it's well can't be compared. Edit 2, OMG chill y'all, I never said the earth bending was a masterpiece. I liked the water and air bending most. Effects were good, that's all I'm saying. One of the more inexplicable choices is deciding to change all the names to sound more Asian for authenticity, despite it being set in a place inspired by but not actually Asia, while making all the main actors white. Richards was given a no-win situation. She said herself that if she played it more straight and wore more appropriate clothing and acted more like a scientist, then people would have been mad because she wasn't as sexy as a Bond girl should be. And she was 100% right. People would have complained either way. I would argue that the greatest miscast was M. Night Shyamalan being the writer, producer, and director. Counterpoint, the James Bond movies prior to Daniel Craig are camp as all get out, and casting people in totally unbelievable roles is part of their charm. Like, I mean, this is a series where a guy kills people with his hat. LOL, the greatest line, I'm Christmas Jones and don't say any jokes, I've heard them all. Smooth as fucking silk, but I don't know any doctor jokes. On the opposite side of the coin, Sophie Marceau's Electra King was one of the best evil Bond girls. I read the title and my first thought was Edward Norton as Hulk. My second thought was I'm gonna read the comments and he'll be one of the first mentioned, since most of the time on any Reddit thread I'm never the first to post the obvious. Then I opened the thread, spent about 14 minutes going through all the comments, and not one mention of Edward Norton as Hulk. Really? Am I in the minority here? Is this an unpopular opinion? For me, it was fine. He is a meek-looking man there and played it up as Bruce. I liked his original Hulk out, and telling them to not make him mad was more of a plea than a tough guy comment. I still like Mark Ruffalo better overall, but I don't think Norton was miscast here. I actually rewatched Norton's Hulk recently, and I think he did a fantastic job. Much better than I remembered him doing. However, his more serious take on Bruce would not fit at all into the direction the MCU took Ruffalo's Bruce/Hulk. I think you have an unpopular opinion here. Personally, and from everyone else I've ever talked to about it, the opinion seems to be that Norton was great, he could have made an amazing character, but his film was only decent, not great. People also agree that Ruffalo ended up better, but for no fault of Norton's. I remember a lot of chatter about recasting him for the MCU and how much people liked him for the character.